Well, with so much to do, so little time, let's get straight into the conversations. But before I do that, allow me to introduce you to our encyclopedia when it comes to the world of football. It's the ultimate heavyweight of the airwaves. To you, it's Brian Mofokeng. Hello, my good sir.
I don't know if encyclopedia actually works okay or not. I'm not sure about that.
Not an encyclopedia? You don't consider yourself an encyclopedia?
No, you know what? I'm still learning every day.
Oh.
Every day I'm getting to learn new things as I go about it. So I'm quite chuffed.
Well, allow me to say a constant student of the game, Brian Mofokeng. If you would pose the trivia question of the week.
Yeah, it is indeed. I mean, the trivia question for this week is, we all know that the AFCON qualifiers are on at the moment.
Yes.
In 2017, a certain country won their 5th title.
Okay.
We want to know which country that was and who was coaching that country.
Alrighty, fastest fingers first. Make sure that you send through your thoughts and your answers, and we will confirm to you if you are accurate or if you are incorrect. It's hashtag Fut-Afrique, the only hashtag that matters from now all the way until 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Let's get straight into the conversations, as we know that technology plays a vital role within our lives, but also within the world of sport. It's also being included, and we're slowly getting used to it. Now, in football, we know VAR, but there's also something called FVS.
Yep.
What is it exactly, Brian, for those who don't know?
You know, if you remember when Sundowns played against Kaizer Chiefs, and it was when Sundowns won by 2-1.
Okay.
The coaching team of Kaizer Chiefs were complaining about having seen an incident and felt there should have been an offside, and they felt that the decision should have been made differently, and that device was told, hey, whoever does the device might leave from the bench with the device. But good news that are coming out from FIFA, if it's approved, by the way, still something that they're still trying to look at and they're still experimenting on. It is this new technology set up where it says coaches can have a device on the bench and can therefore challenge a referee's decision. Well, this new thing that is coming up.
Which becomes really complicated, right? Because then one would say coaches have a device, then we have VAR.
Yeah.
Do we use them together, or are they used?
So this is going to be, if, for example, an incident happens on a field of play and the coach feels it's not a right decision, he can therefore challenge with this new system. You know, but if it's not successful with a particular one, then you move on. You know, so you have chances like they're trying to bring something that's more like in tennis. If you're watching a tennis game,
Yes.
you can therefore go and refer to for your decision to be referred.
Okay.
And then they can come back and say successful or not. You got a certain amount of that to do. So football is trying to bring something like that into the flow. But if that is successful, that is still something that is being debated. You know, I know that if you know Pierluigi, the Coloni, those have followed football for the longest of time, will know him. So he's the head of FIFA refereeing. So he's saying that's something they're toying with at the moment. They tried it under 17 and the 20 level, and have seen just how interesting that is. So it is something that is now being discussed at the highest level. If it gets approved, I think that's going to bring a new dynamic.
It's going to be very interesting. You've been following football possibly for over 27 years. And I use that number specifically because, you know. Right? So you've been following football.
Which one is it? Let's make clear.
But you've been following football for an ample amount of years. And you've seen the inclusion of VAR and what that's done to the game. Now, first of all, I want to know from you, how do you feel about VAR? And what it's done to the game, and just its natural instinct of us trusting the human eye.
You know what I used to love, first of all, about football is that we used to have this debate that continued forever.
Love it.
We never had a right decision.
Love it.
VAR has come and changed that. Because sometimes now you're sitting here in discussion and saying, but VAR said, and that's the end of it. But we still have human element that comes into it,
100%.
where we still have the discussion going forward.
Yes.
So now with this new dynamic that comes in, it will be now where teams can therefore challenge, and a coach will not now sit down and say, I therefore challenged and I lost, and therefore still have something to recourse beyond that. Because he'll come and say, I challenged, and I realized on second attempt that the referee said that decision is mine, is final, and that's the end of it. The debate will continue no matter what happens. But from an old school person as I am, I just felt VAR has taken away the thrill from the game.
Yeah.
VAR
You'll never have a Maradona goal ever again.
It's like that antidote that comes in. It's like, no, you still want to be able to enjoy certain stuff, but VAR has come in and spoiled it for all of us. Because even with VAR, we don't even get it 100% right.
Yeah, true.
There's still some decision, still asking, but how did the VAR miss that one? You know? But I think until we get to, but I always say change is difficult to adapt to.
Yeah.
So it's a new
evolution also.
something new. I'm a 2000 yourself. You probably believe you're the best.
I am not a 2000, by the way. But also, Brian, I want to take it back to this because there's so much we can talk about it. But we know that VAR isn't implemented in all leagues around the world yet. And now here we are moving on to a second tier of technology and saying that we're stepping it up a bit. What then says about the haves and have-nots? And I know it's not FIFA's problem because they're doing what they can to equip the associations. Associations need to take accountability.
It becomes a FIFA problem eventually.
Yeah.
Because
at the competitions?
Competition, for example, because then when teams get to a level of competition that have been sanctioned by FIFA, they find themselves wanting sometimes. Because something you need to get away with in a local league, you find yourself being literally punished for that. And I was watching a game, just to refer back to something that happened recently. I was watching a game in a CAF, in the Champions League in Europe that happened, where the goalkeeper started the play, and an Aston Villa player picked up the ball and a penalty was awarded. But a similar incident happened involving a different team in Arsenal. But that decision was never given. So you're going to always have that discussion that's come up one after the other continuously to say, is this right, is this wrong? But it's always going to be debates around it.
Finally, before we go to the break, do we believe that coaches have the emotional intelligence enough to use FVS properly? This is why it's being tested in women's football first, because we know. We don't get too emotional. We understand it's just a game. Huh?
Hey, Itu, I tell you one thing. When you have your job at stake, you'll remember some of these things that you start really fighting. It's a survival kit thing. So I just love innovation that comes in. As long as used properly, I am for it. It's not, if it's abused, I'm not for it.
Well, if it's used or will it be abused, that's still a question that will be answered. But I guess it needs to be approved first. FVS, if you don't know about it, now you know about it. But also make sure that you put in a little bit more time to research about it because it could be a reality when it comes to watching football.